الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا إنه من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. No. So, how have the lessons been for us lately? Let me start with Mrs. Lawal. So we went through more recently. We went through Nun Sakina, Mim Sakina, and Mad. Of which I know that through the recitation classes would have come across like those things, would have had to revise them, and like probably also in the past we would have learned some rules of Nun Sakina, I mean Sakina, and the Mad too. So but now having to watch the videos and also read through the booklets. So how did it go? Is Miss Lawa in? Okay, maybe let's hear from Mrs. Shutu.
Assalamu alaikum. Can you please repeat what you said?
Okay, I said that going through the lessons on Mim Sakina, Nun Sakina, and Mad
Um,
in this program, how did it go for you?
okay, Assalamu alaikum. Jazakumullah khairan.
Alaikum salam.
For Nun Sakina, alhamdulillah, it was more comprehensive than what I already know, in the
Inshallah.
sense that it was much more detailed, like clarifying each of the rulings. Like, okay, when this particular letter comes after this one, like when you talked about the how meme, like when there's no sakina and then bar precedes it, and then you're already seeing the meme sign on it. It
Mashallah.
gives you, like, it kind of clarifies that, oh, I have to turn that instead of me to call the known, the example you cited. I think it
Yes.
was meme. I can't recall
I think
particularly, but
Mim bad.
meme bad now. I'm like, but when you see the meme on the note, that's like a pointer. Usually, is like maybe you are probably reciting and then you forgot your saver, but like the meme is a pointer. That's one very major aspect I picked. That okay, whenever you are reciting, you already see the meme is indicating that that is a clap because
Now.
it's a special. So that means that we will not, like the normal way we used to pronounce meme is not the way we are
Yes.
going to that meme, that we are going to close our mouth together, kind of like spread your mouth or something like that.
Yes, yes. You are not going to let the lips to touch.
But
Exactly. Yes.
that's for the known certain. I've not watched the mad video, so I can't
Okay,
really say.
okay, okay,
But for
okay.
the known and name sakina, those are the ones that, and the way you the guna, each of the role is particularly, it was more detailed than what I know before, which
Alhamdulillah.
was helpful.
Alhamdulillah. Jazakumullah khairan for that one. Thank you. So I have okay, just a minute. I have Mrs. Abdul Karim. Are you there, ma?
Now, Assalamu alaikum
Wa
warahmatullahi
alaikum
wabarakatuh.
salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So
Now,
how has it
Jazakumullah
been
khair.
for you? I'm very happy.
Now, I just glanced through just viewed the videos, but I've not really had my time to sit on it and practice it very well. But I'm
May
going
Allah
to do
make
that
it
today,
easy.
inshallah.
May Allah make it easy.
But I believe after watching it, I will also have my testimony.
No, inshallah. Uh, like of course, when we started this program, we said that one of the um major motivations is like understanding the struggles of women especially once they are married and then they begin to have children, and also it can be quite tough. But we just have to keep finding a way to create time and to get it done, inshallah, so that we can also have the reward and we can touch lives to starting from our families.
This is one of the things that is keeping me moving because don't let your children or whatever you like to
Yes.
prevent you from entering Aljanna. That is something that is always on my mind. That, let me just keep striving. I cannot allow these people because you are just at you are in service 24 hours, no resting because when you want to sleep, you are breastfeeding another child. Ah, God. Not the lie.
May Allah accept these struggles from us and be pleased with us and grant us goodness fi dunya wa fil akhirah. Grant us all al jannah to firdaus. Make us great and important role models for our children,
Amen.
and make them also the coolness of our eyes.
Amen. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, exactly.
So today, what we want to do is to really look into the Quran itself and try to recite with the best form of recitation that we can, inshallah. Because the rules are one thing, but then we have to recite the Quran in a melodious way. So that's another thing, and that's why, inshallah, we'll be trying to do that now. So just a moment, I want to open my Quran. Okay, you can go ahead. You can go ahead.
Now, okay, now, sound like now
Alaikum salam.
about the melodious voice.
Yes.
Yes, okay, so I'm teaching my daughter how to recite Quran, and
Okay.
alhamdulillah, she's reciting. But right now, it's like we are just reciting, we are just learning the Quran. We are not very particular about sweet voice. I just want her to like have
Mm,
memorization of Quran.
mm.
But when there was one time because she's enrolled, she's going to have a competition, Quran competition. So we've been
Allah grant us
practicing day and
success.
night. So I mean, so now the point is, we now went ahead to go and look at some Quranic competition of kids of her age, and then we saw the competition, and she saw how beautiful their voices were, and she started to ask me that why is her voice not like that,
Hmm.
and I don't even know.
These children, they will ask you some questions that.
And then that actually got her discouraged. He said, "Our voice is not
Oh,
sweet. Mommy, I will not be able to do it. My voice is giving." I'm like, calm down now. At least, I don't know how to tell her because me myself, I'm like, truly, truth be told, we've not been very particular about. Okay,
yes.
that's the question I want to point out. Like, how do I achieve that? Me too. I want to have melodious voice, like the way we used to when we listen to people recite and you fall in love with their voices. That attracts us to Quran. Is there a particular way, or is it by listening to the reciters that we start mimicking them, or how do we achieve that melodious voice?
Okay, so as far as I know, achieving a melodious voice, there are like majorly two ways to it. You either mimic someone, that is like you learn it through listening to your teacher and trying to do the same thing, and with time you develop your own style of reciting. So by making, maybe you make your teacher or you may make a reciter. Then the second way, we have like a study on it, which is called makomat. So like it has detailed rulings of how to recite in a certain way. It's just like even Astagfirullah, to use this example, but for musicians too. Someone might start singing and they just use their own way of singing, but when they get into the music industry, then they like kind of enroll them again, so they really learn how to use their voice. I don't know if that example like resonates with us. So even for someone who like anything in this life, like when you start it, you can start on a natural way, like the way it's easy for you, and when you really go into it, you find out, oh, there's more study on it, which makes it easier. So the same way, like in the Quran, we trying to recite with a melodious voice, they have that. But for us right now, what we really need is just to mimic. And with time, you see that it becomes a part of you. The idea is to keep trying and keep practicing. And whatever that we practice, Allah makes it easy for us. So inshallah, she should not be worried. She just needs to start practicing it and listening to others. Inshallah, like I started the I started the presentation. I don't know if we can see
Now
my
you can see your
screen.
screen.
Okay.
Yes.
So some of the reciters that one can use, I mentioned them on the group chat when I shared this link to the Quran.com. The Quran.com, you can also download it as an app on the phone. So inshallah we'll be looking at Surah Al Imran because I'm hoping that nobody has memorized that place before. Am I correct?
For me, you're correct. I'm not.
So
Maybe
because
others have been right.
I want, because I know Bakoro, like a lot of people like probably memorize Bakoro. So, but Ali Imran is usually like, oh, okay. Alright, so inshallah we'll be looking at Surah Al Imran. So I would recite a verse, and I would like if we can also try to mimic that. And if we feel like, oh, mashallah, like we are really getting into it, then we can even make our own too. That would be nice. Okay, so let me just see if I can find a sequence for us. So we have Mrs. Shitu, Mrs. Abdulkarim, and Mrs. Eniola, and then Mrs. Adewumi. So Miss Shitu, Miss Abdulkarim, that's two, then three, Miss Lawal, then Miss Kafila. Okay, so we are here. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم